Welcome to the Power Up Podcast. I'm your host, Trevor Scullion. Join me for some powerful conversations with members of the Substation Design Solutions Industry Consortium, the SDSIC. I'll chat with members about the consortium, innovations, how they're implementing different technologies, even some of the projects they're working on to address the growing needs of our power grid. My guest today is Michael Bussinger, Assistant Department Manager at Burns McDonnell. At the same time, Michael is also an Adjunct Instructor at Metropolitan Community College, Maplewood. If that wasn't enough, Michael is also the current co-chair for the SDSIC Civil Structural Committee, along with our chair, Randy Erkart. Thanks a lot for joining me today, Michael.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be here.
Yeah, that's great, man. I'm really happy to cover the Civil Committee. I only have one left after this, and we should have a good recording for each committee that folks could listen to prior to Nashville anyway. But as you know, this podcast is meant for introduction of folks and definitely starting with committee chairs and co-chairs and introducing the committee. So for yourself, let's just start with your background and how you ended up at Burns McDonnell.
Sure. Yeah, I actually got introduced into CAD when I was in high school. I loved doing woodworking, and my woodworking teacher at the time challenged me to design my own project, develop the blueprints, and then build it. And,
Nice.
and so that's where it all kind of came together. I built this little jewelry box with a hidden drawer in the bottom of it, and then everything just kind of took off from there.
So was that AutoCAD, you said?
Yep. The first, I think, I don't remember what version of it was, but yeah, it's definitely AutoCAD.
Cool.
And then I pursued a computer drafting design degree at the Metropolitan Community College, and then transferred into what is now the University of Central Missouri. Used to be CMSU. And then started off in the industry working at Black & Veatch for several years as a red line drafter. Started doing electrical physical design, and then started to dabble in the civil a little bit.
All right.
And then ultimately was recruited over here by a friend. He's a EPC project director at Burns McDonnell, and he really just we went to lunch and had a few conversations, and now I've been here for just about 6 years, and
Nice.
started here doing designs in both physical and civil design, and now I primarily focus just on the civil side.
Okay. Wow. And you're in the Kansas City corporate office, right?
Yes. Yep.
Now, I got to ask you, it's on LinkedIn. So you're also an adjunct instructor,
Yes.
which is very cool. And I had to ask you about that. Now, you're doing that at the same time, right, as you're working at Burns?
I am. Yeah. It's not too demanding. Typically one night a week. But we got started with that just because at Burns McDonnell we call it the Design Innovation Lab, and it's a 14-week course where we teach students design, how to design substations. And in the process of doing that, the program director approached me and asked if I'd be interested in teaching for the college. And in that class, I found a passion for teaching and helping others to be successful in whatever they wanted to pursue. And so it took one time of shadowing a current instructor, and I was hooked. It was a lot of fun, and it was surprisingly fulfilling to me to help people get from no understanding of a computer program to be able to function in it fairly efficiently.
Wow. Very cool. Yeah. Well, they say if you want to know something really well, teach it to someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. I don't know another adjunct instructor. I think the only one I know that's instructing at a college right now is Terry Hummel from Nashville Electric. That's doing a similar thing, teaching AutoCAD and electrical design, I think, at local college in Nashville. You'll meet her down in the upcoming conference.
Yeah. I'd love to make the introduction.
Yeah. So when did you first get involved with the SDSIC?
It's been a few years back now. When I came to Burns McDonnell, I was just looking for new opportunities and ways to build my network, better better understand the programs we dealt with on a daily basis. A coworker had introduced me to the organization, and so I joined in and started listening in, and became a part of it.
Okay, wow. And a lot of our members probably don't know a lot of the work that you did behind the scenes last year when Burns McDonnell hosted our SDSIC event in Kansas. I know you did a lot of work during that one. So on behalf of the community, man, big thank you on that one. Maybe you want to give some of your teammates a shout out on that one.
Yeah, it was a huge effort. Definitely a team of us, Jason Benuelos, Jenny Graham, Lauren Farron, Anna. It was a huge effort, and I think a lot more work than I understood I was getting into. But without Lauren and Anna in our marketing group, they really did a huge lift there, and I think it ultimately is very successful.
It was a great event, man. The all the feedback we got, everyone that attended was super happy with the venue, the food, all the presentations. Like you guys knocked it out of the park.
Thank you.
So big shout out to the Burns Mac team down there in Kansas. Let's talk a little bit about the Civil Structural Committee that you're currently co-chair with Randy Eckhart.
Sure. Yeah, I think I took over. I think January of 22. The co-chair at the time, Ruben, was ready to step down, hand it off to get new ideas into the committee. Okay. And then my boss, he knew that I was looking for opportunities to kind of engage and share knowledge and help people within our industry. And so ultimately I was nominated by Burns McDonnell for the co-chair position. And I think the elections took place in late 2021. So I've been in this role for a little over a year now.
Okay. Yeah. You've been doing quite a bit of work too on that side. Talk to us a little bit about what the Civil Structural Committee objectives are and what they try to get accomplished within the SDSIC.
Yeah, it's been kind of a learning curve being on the leadership side of it. And then I think we also took we took on the structural portion, which was new to the Civil Committee. Previously, it was housed within the Physical Committee.
Right.
And so engaging our members just to really kind of understand what it is that they want from us as the chair and co-chair. Where can we provide the best assistance to them? Who do they want to see for presentations, and what kind of content? In my mind, in networking events or committees like this, it's not so much the elementary or entry level information that they want. They want something a little more in depth. And so with the structural portion of that being new to the group, and I've always been on the civil site side of things myself. Really kind of understanding the structural component is one of my objectives this coming year, and just better engaging Autodesk and Bentley and providing that kind of content to the group. And I think another big goal of mine is to kind of turn our page into more of like a users group with some micro classes. And when I find myself formally, whenever I was really engaged in the programs, having to watch an hour-long video just to find 5 minutes worth of content, Yeah. And so creating these micro classes, I think could be very beneficial to committee members.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, man, we do the same on the coding side. You watch these long ass videos for the 2 minutes of code that you need. It's painful.
Yeah.
Now this is your chance. We got about 1,768 members today in the consortium. This is your chance to kind of ask for some help or what you need from different members that are joining the Civil Structural Committee. What kind of help, or what could they bring to the table when they join your monthly calls or join you in Nashville?
I think one of the biggest changes that I would like to see is just for people not to be too afraid to speak up. across whether it's clients or competitors, or we're all in this industry together. And I think that's one of the big reasons around this community is, we're all in one room trying to learn together and learn from one another. If someone's having one problem, the likelihood that someone else has already had that and maybe has solved it's very high. And and a lot of the people that are joining these committees are industry leaders and very, their thinking is very innovative. And so we could create very unique solutions or unique workflows and really use those across companies and utilities and really create, I think, a much better product across the board.
Yeah, very well said. I think it's been a common theme with a lot of the folks that I talk to on this podcast, and they've all mentioned that there's no experts, and everyone's got a great idea. And as you just said, it's engineering firms in the same meeting, it's vendors in the same meeting, but it's always it's a common objective just to figure out better workflows and solutions, and nobody's really stepping on each other, competing.
Yeah, I think, and just the way that technology is evolving at really kind of a rapid pace. I think that the best thing we can do is to work together.
Right. Yeah, the more people going through the different problems and sharing what they've found, it could all save us some Google searches for sure. How do you feel that the SDSIC has such an impact on our industry? Do you feel that it's making a big difference? I mean, you volunteer a lot of your time to it, and can you feel the impact out there as you talk to folks?
Yeah, I think I'm starting to. I think in some committees, it's a little, the impact is a bit bigger. I think that just because those committees are a bit larger. And so there's more, there's more voices in there, more people thinking on the same problem. I will say that the civil committee has been growing over this last year, and we have new people engaged and involved, and I'm seeing new presenters this time around. I think that has been from the conference in Kansas City last fall to this one this spring. The amount of people that are stepping up and willing to take on a presentation slot has been it's been impressive. I think we filled it out a lot quicker than we did previously, and I think it's just getting people engaged and informed and giving them a way to get their voice out there.
Yeah, it's so good to hear. And there has been a lot of new folks stepping up, and I think it is, as you said, you keep sharing that in your committees that you don't need to feel like you have to be an expert in a given tool just to come in and present. It can be as simple as a project show and tell. Just, here's how we did a project, here's what the challenges were, here's how we overcame them or didn't, right? I mean, just sharing your experiences is a terrific presentation as well.
Yeah, I think there was a presentation in Kansas City last year where someone was doing just that, really just kind of like a highlight of the workflow that they went through to complete the project. And someone did pipe up and kind of voiced how they would have approached the situation. And I know that individual actually took that with them and implemented it on a different project. And so even if it was a past project, I think there's always lessons to be learned.
There you go. Do you think it's worthwhile kind of touching on just some of the solutions that you guys cover in the civil structural side? And you mentioned obviously Autodesk and Bentley, but is there some product names you want to talk about or touch on?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big programs that we focus on are going to be that Civil 3D for sure. I think open roads and open site are becoming more prevalent. Starting to see a few more utilities ask for that. And so making that more of a forefront product, I think would serve us well. And then the structural analysis programs like Pro Steel, STAD, and then Pro Structures on the Bentley side. I think those are probably the bigger programs that we talk about. I definitely have some people that come through that have used Tekla, which I'm not very fluent in that myself, but that's another one I've been hearing a lot of lately, depending on the client. So I think those I'd say probably those five,
Yeah, that's
six.
great. Yeah, that's great. I mean, that helps, right? It helps when people are heading to Nashville trying to figure out which groups to go in, which committees to hit. I think that helps out a little bit.
Yeah, and for Nashville, I think we've got a few different presentations on BIM and different stages of the life cycle of BIM. So I think there's could be a lot of useful information with that as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's great to hear that group pick it up so much, man. You did a lot of good work there. You're definitely on the move. I could see it on the monthly calls and just the people hitting the committee pages.
Yeah, I'm happy with the progress.
So what kind of advice would you have you already mentioned a few, but kind of advice to any members out there, maybe folks just getting started and going to show up in Nashville and see the 6 different committees and the 300 people, and what kind of advice would you throw out?
Yeah, don't be a stranger. Everyone's there for the same reason, and we all have different backgrounds, and we're all there to build networks and establish, ultimately friendships form from events like this, and so I would, don't be afraid to walk up to somebody and say hello. I mean, if anybody sees me, feel free to stop, say hello, introduce yourself. I'll talk with anyone, and I think they'll have a hard time getting me to stop. So,
yeah, no, that's great. That's another common theme that I hear all the time is, a lot of folks just want to, it's a lot easier after you meet somebody face to face, and you get back to the office and you're having an issue with software or some workflow or something. It's a lot easier to send an email to somebody that you've hung out with in person.
I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, Matt, anything else you want to touch on as far as the SDSIC?
I mean, I would just try to make it a point to, meet 1 or 2 new people every day. Make sure you bring business cards to hand out and continue those relationships afterwards.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, don't forget about the evening events and everything else that you could do, right?
Yeah, no, they're not set in stone yet, but I think Power Engineers is hosting one night. We have SBS and Autodesk hosting another night, and then Burns McDonnell is hosting an evening event on the 3rd night. So I can't say too much just because I don't know what they are yet.
No, they're secret right now, I think.
Yeah, if they're anything like they were in Kansas City, you will not want to miss them.
Yeah, it's such a good chance to get together, just kind of hang out and, get to know somebody, right? Talk about something different besides work and workflow and software. You get to just hang around and relax.
Yep.
Okay, wow. That was a good wrap up on the SDSIC deal. Let's get back to Michael Bussinger. Let's talk a little bit more about you, man, before we close out here. So, I know you're very passionate. You and I talked quite a bit. And what really motivates you in the work you're doing right now?
It's really seeing people be successful and advance through their careers. It motivates me to really kind of better understand the technology that's coming, and then evaluate how we can utilize that in the designs. And then, if as long as I'm getting to know my staff, I can identify those people that have the passion to go down a certain area. The civil site team does something very different than our structural team. And so identifying the different technologies and where there could be efficiencies, and then putting those people in the right position to succeed with them.
Right.
I think that's a big motivation for me.
Yeah, that's terrific work. So what opportunities excite you the most, at least in our industry right now?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is really how intelligent design is changing the landscape of substation design. Some of the utilities are not so quick to adopt some technologies, others are, but the evolution of the technologies are also making it hard to ignore. Just the efficiency of them, and even some of the AI programs and how you can utilize those in your designs. I know I've seen several things with, on LinkedIn with you and some of your network that are really impressive.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's changing so fast, and to your earlier point, is just trying to keep up, right? And LinkedIn is a great community for that, right? We're able to share and try to learn from each other because it's just too much to keep up to now.
Yeah, it really is. And then I think on the AI side of it, I don't fully understand it yet. I think the big things as an instructor that I've seen, people are worried about, plagiarism, things like that. But I think you can almost use it as a tool to help identify articles or different things that may be able to help you in your research. I know I've used it for that, just typing in what best articles about whatever topic it is, and then it usually spits out 5 to 10 of them, and then I can then go and start to sift through those.
It's so true. Yeah, I've been doing similar things on the code side with ChatGPT and that, right? It just, instead of searching for 10 web pages, most of which are advertisements now. So
right.
Yeah, instead of reading all of that, it sure is a lot quicker to spit out some answers.
Yeah, you can't do sponsorships on ChatGPT, can you?
No, not yet. Yeah, let's hope that stays away for a while longer.
Right.
But it is absolutely incredible. I've been using it. Microsoft has a Copilot application I've been using alongside with Visual Studio Code, and it obviously not going to replace programmers anytime soon, but it definitely cuts down on the debugging efforts and some of that monotonous stuff. It's not creative enough to write an application, but it certainly does help. Like you said, it's what AI is going to bring to the design world is going to be absolutely amazing in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so what's some of your biggest challenges doing all of this besides trying to keep up with technology and AI?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge, I think, is like with the way that technology is advancing and the way that some clients are adopting it, finding students graduating with the knowledge base that's needed, it is becoming increasingly more difficult because we don't, on the instruction side, as an instructor at the college, they get a very, very, very basic understanding of Civil 3D before they leave the school, and in some instances, they may not even get an introduction to other vendors, and so you have these engineering firms they need that experience, and just because the clients has the demand for the program, and so I think ultimately what's going to happen is the colleges are going to have to change the way that they're teaching to really make any kind of impact here. And that I don't know that's, I guess the way an engineering firm could get on board is, sitting on the board, having some sort of impact with the educational programs that are being taught. But it's definitely a big challenge.
That's a great point, right? It's almost like we need a big shift to more creativity and, kind of less memorizing of, past data. So,
right.
Like you said, right? You need a big shift in how we're taught.
Yeah. And I think a challenge that it's not one I'm focused on now. It's one that I've noticed is sometimes they'll go through an engineering path and, math's tough sometimes, right? And some people get hung up in calculus or DiffEq or something like that, and maybe they don't finish the engineering degree. And I think CAD is really a discipline or a career path that a lot of people are aware of, and so they may end up just going a completely different route when in reality you still could have stayed in the design world and in the engineering industry. They just didn't know.
Yeah, wow, that's a great point. Yeah, that's true. You get hung up on all the physics calculations and realize you could have been doing CAD simulations the whole time.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I find it interesting. I had a few people that went that path within the community college, and in the curriculum they required to take a drafting course, and sometimes they make that switch a little bit sooner than others, but I think I think it would be important for engineering programs to have some sort of introduction to it in the way that technology could be utilized.
Yeah, fantastic. Right. So any big future plans?
For myself, I'm working on a master's in education with a focus on organizational leadership and adult learning.
Oh.
Really trying to put a focus on emerging technologies, developing strategies to implement them, and kind of taking a hard look at the organizational leadership and what they're doing to help implement those. So it's it's not a short journey for sure, but
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, while you're doing your full-time job and volunteering for the SDSIC, right? Yeah, sure. No problem. Well, that's fantastic, Michael. I think our whole community feels better knowing there's folks like you out there as instructors and helping us get some new talent in the industry too, right? It's been a big thing for us. I think Sean Weekly, from the former technology chair and now the innovative solution chair, he brought it up, and we started putting hashtag careers in a lot of our posts on LinkedIn, trying to kind of attract some of the younger talent out there to the utility industry, at least to electrical power.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, man. Dude, I'm so glad we got to do this. It's been a while. I tried to get you on, and it was great to cover the committee and get some folks to go meet you in Nashville and show up at all the presentations.
Yeah, no, I was happy to do it, and I look forward to seeing everybody in Nashville. And again, don't be afraid to stop me and say hello, introduce yourself, and especially at the evening events. That is what those are all about.
Absolutely. Right. Thanks a lot, Michael. Hey, we'll see you in Nashville, and on behalf of the whole community, man, we really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Power Up Podcast today. If you enjoyed this conversation and you're not yet a member of the SDSIC, join for free at sdsconsortium.com. Be part of the community and all these great conversations. And maybe you'll be the next guest on the Power Up Podcast.